people? How y'all excuse me, how y'all doing today? Figured I'll make a part 2 to that Aisin and Chrysler transmission video I made earlier on today. Call it like Aisin versus Chrysler part 2 clarification video. Guys, I'm not a full-time YouTuber, and nor do I make a living off of YouTube. I do monetize my videos, and I get a few pennies off of my videos, so thank you all for your support. But once in a while, when I do get the free time, I'll sit down and read some of your comments. And I read some of the stuff you guys posted on there, and I was just like, oh boy, I gotta make a video for my people to understand and be certain in my comparison and the knowledge or the experience I have to share with you guys. Most of y'all know this, but some of you don't, and I feel like you confuse others by commenting what you're commenting. As far as, you know, oh, he's just sharing a friends of a friend story and this and that. Guys, use your freaking brain. When have I, you know what I mean, pulled stuff out of thin air? Yeah, I might come off confusing sometimes, but I never pull stuff out of thin air. This video is all about experience and knowledge and to share it with others. That's it, man. That's all this channel is about. So let me clarify some stuff. When I bring up comparisons, and when I bring up people, or should I say when I bring up stories that are not directly affiliated with my fleet, and it's I say a friend, that means it's a trusted friend. That means it's an honorable comparison, and specifically the comparison I'm talking about, my buddy that had 60,000 miles on his truck and grenaded his Aisin. Man, that guy is in the hot shotting business. That guy asked me a million questions about service. That guy runs his trucks just like I do and the way I do at a very high percentage rate. So his service intervals just like mine. What he does with his truck just like mine. Guys, I'm not going to pull off a contractor story in comparison to a hot shotter story. You can't. It's unethical, it's illogical. So I'm not mad at anybody. I guess you'd call me frustrated with the ignorance that some of y'all have on YouTube. But anyways, keep things simple for all my people. When I do bring up examples, it's not of a friend. It's not some fairy tale I heard somewhere. It's a trusted source. It's a source that he says he does oil changes at 30,000 on his tranny. He does them at 30,000. Might do them at 29 or 31, but hey, you guys get the point. So no, it's not fair to compare a contractor's, like a builder contractor's truck to a hot shotter's truck. Two different ball games. One is a lot harder life versus the other, so on and so forth. And when I do bring up other stories, I'll tell you, hey, this is a story of its own. In other words, like, hey, I know this guy, he has this and this. But specifically in my first video, oh man, let's see what this guy does. Tag me at 42 and a 35. Now staring me down. Oh, good deal. He's not flipping. Nope. Yes. Hit his brakes. I don't know if he's gonna flip a Huey. No, he's a good man. Anyways, he's a good man because let me go. In other words. Anyways, fellas, what was I talking? Oh, that guy blew his tranny. So no, I'm not gonna do you guys wrong and bring up one story to another that don't add up together as a comparison. And so let me throw a few oddballers at you. Specifically, that guy that I was comparing, a 60,000 mile tranny, he's just going kaboom. I've mentioned that he does hot shotting. I mentioned he does service, and I mentioned it all in the first video. I mentioned all this, but some of y'all ignorant or just skip forward through my video and then make unethical comments. So that could confuse others. Since we're on this topic, let me finish off by bringing up some of these examples to confirm my decision on the Chrysler transmission. For me, the 68 RFE is a piece of junk, and it's nothing more than that. Why? Because for what I use those pickups for. You can't use fully a Cummins with a 68 RFE. You cannot. you'll grenade that thing within 50,000 miles. And I have facts for it. A friend of mine bought a 2011 pickup in 2012 with 9,000 miles. 9,000 miles. He got the truck as any good new owner. Did all the fluids, tranny, everything. Did everything. Guys, I underline, he did all his fluids. By 15,000 miles, that tranny was bucking. What was he doing? He was hauling his rear end around and pulled cars with it. Cars, him and his brothers do as a hobby, so that's all they did. At 15,000 miles, he hooks up a gooseneck. Or should I say his dad hooks up a gooseneck. And I mean, aerodynamic, light loads, okay? I think he took one heavy load once. It was steel. Doesn't bother me at all. Doesn't bother any of my equipment. But he had a problem that it was 10,000 pounds. So let's just round it off. This guy did load 6,000 and under in aerodynamic. And he sold that truck right around 30,000 miles on that truck. And that transmission was a pile of junk, guys. That thing was done. Okay? That's a story of its own. So from 15 to 30, use it for hot shodding. Really light duty, really light loads. Okay? Piece of junk. Went to crap. Next story. I have a cousin. Well, I should say the guy's married to my cousin. He got his truck, don't quote me on this, at 12,000 or 14. But anyways, that mileage was in the teens, okay? Fairly fresh truck. A 2010 pickup truck. Nothing wrong with it. It was involved in a fender bender. He changed out his rear bed, and I think that was about it, all that he did to that truck. It was a good deal on his end. And once again, it's a Chrysler transmission. Piece of junk. Just absolutely piece of junk. 40,000 miles on that transmission, and you can't even drive down the road without getting swift kick up your rear end, solely because he used it once in a while to pull loads with it. He owns a trucking company, and sometimes he needs to pick and drop stuff, little things, and he'd use that truck. Absolutely piece of junk transmission. Why? Because it's not intended for 10,000 and over. Just period. Forget it. Trailer alone is right about 5,000-6,000 pounds on these goosenecks. The average gooseneck you'd want to haul on a single rear wheel. You know, and 6,000, like my buddy. Let's go back to my buddy with his 2011. You know, 9,000 miles on the clock when he first bought the truck. At 15,000, he started hot shodding. So the trailer is 6,000 and the load is 6,000. He's topping out 12,000 pounds. You know, like aerodynamic load, cruising down the interstate. Thing is a piece of junk. It can't hold its crap together. You know, and I can't stress enough, you guys being ignorant and calling me names. I am not offended any way, shape, or form. You guys say, hey, based on this, and this fact, this is horse crap what you're sharing here. I have no problem with that. What I have a problem with is people pulling stuff out of thin air and then telling me I'm pulling stuff out of it. Just forget that crap, guys. These are solid facts, okay? That guy with the 2011, my buddy, well, that bought his truck with 9,000 miles, right? He's done. He was done with that truck. He wanted nothing to do with it. 30,000 miles on the clock. My cousin, the guy's married to my cousin, $40,000 on, or 40,000 miles on the truck. It's done. It's junk. There's just absolutely nothing good to say about a Chrysler transmission that's doing hot shodding. I don't know who said what, she said, he said, bullcrap. I don't want to hear it. I want nothing. Why do I not want to hear it? Because I have facts. Guys, I have absolute facts surrounding me. Why should I be ignorant about it and tell you it's a fine transmission? No, for hot shodding, it's a pile of junk. If you're just hauling your rear end around and you're pulling a trailer up to 10,000, no more than that, even on a daily basis, you'll be fine. As soon as you cross that 10,000 pound trailer mark, forget it. Don't mess with that truck. Don't use that truck because you will have a handicap. Okay, couple more facts. I have friends. Okay, I'm not very close with these guys, and I'm being upfront with you guys, and I'm telling you exactly, so you guys don't go pulling some stupid stuff on me. Both of these fellas are running 2016s with Chryslers, you know. I meet up the guy, I'm like, hey, sweet truck, nice looking truck, you know, it's 2016, fancy, limited truck. He's like, yeah, I like it. I'm like, what tranny do you have in there? He's He's like, Chrysler. I'm like, cool, you know. Start talking about trannies, and I have nothing good to say about a tranny in my line of work, you know. And he tells me, oh no, it's absolutely good transmission. He's like, what? You know, I gotta admit that when I do put it in tow haul mode, and it's, you know, when I'm hauling my trailer, because we got on that topic that, you know, Aisin changes its tune when you're in tow haul mode. He's like, once I haul something for a couple days and I pull it out of tow haul mode, that thing bucks, and it bucks hard. So, for example, you're cruising down the road and you punch it, it downshifts and it goes. But if you punch it, it downshifts for a short time, meaning it downshifts and it starts pulling, and then you let off. Whew, that tranny just, as soon as you let off the throttle, it's like someone gives it a swift kick up his butt. It can't turn down the power in time and it disengages the gear. Whatever the deal is, it bucks really bad. Same exact story with another truck. It's 2016 with the Chrysler transmission, 1-to-1 ratio, same exact problem. Anytime the guy tows extensively, I mean, he said 10,000, but his average loads are about 6,000 pounds. That's truck, tool, or excuse me, that's trailer, tools, and material on that. It's a little utility trailer that they use to both tow around. Both the guys are in the tile business, by the way. And anyways, so these things just buck. So that tells you they're just something's wrong with the darn thing. It just can't handle it. Now, if you don't turn on tow haul mode for those guys, the 2016s, they're perfectly fine. They just, you know, they mush through gears, and let me pull over. Having a hard time focusing. They just go through them gears, and yeah, like no one's business. You know, the guys don't have problems with the transmission, so to say. I mean, they haven't limped out on them, meaning put them in limp mode. They haven't done anything like that. But the truth be told, they weren't engineered for it. Period. And you're gonna bombard my comments, say, Paul, you're an idiot. You think you're smarter than engineers? No, I'm just telling you guys that those trucks, the Cummins with the Chrysler transmission, should never see anything hooked up more than 10,000 pounds behind it. It is embarrassing. It is a disgrace to Cummins and Ram. You should get your crap together as far as your training is. So that's that. And now another story. 2017. I know there's a story with 2017. Come on, where'd you go? Oh, yeah. No, it's another 2016. A guy pulls up to my shop, needed some service done. A 2016 with 29,000 miles on it, guys. 29,000 miles on this truck. We got under his truck to do other things, service other things. And guess what's already been pulled off that truck? Freaking transmission. You could tell when bolts were undone, you know, you could tell, period. You don't have to be a genius to figure that out. Bolts and everything, you could tell were undone. Tranny was dropped at 29,000 miles. Tranny was already shot. That's another 2016. The 2017 story that I was looking for is my neighbor. At 13,000 miles, okay? I mean, crap happens. Don't get me wrong, guys. Absolutely don't get me wrong. I'm not like ignorant to say, oh, Aisin is a perfect transmission. No. That's why I brought up my buddy in 60,000 miles doing hot shotting, doing the service intervals, perfectly good. You know, doing 30,000 miles between service intervals, and it grenaded. Where the rest of my trucks never had an issue like that. Let me finish the story with my neighbor. 2017. 3,500, mega cab, short bed, whatever. That doesn't play a role. But the problem is he has a Chrysler transmission at 13,000 miles. 2 solenoids go out, puts them in limp mode. He's stuck to third gear. Guys, 13,000 miles. You know what he hauls? He hauls. Well, he's in the excavating business. He hauls a little Bobcat half the time, and half the time he pulls his rear end around. Okay, those are true stories. Those are facts. Those are people that can support him. There's more stories that I'd stay quiet about them because I'm not convinced myself that these are facts. I'm not convinced. Probably my biggest concern is their service intervals, okay? So I'll stay quiet about those stories. Why does Chrysler have so many crap stories? Because they're crap, okay? Anything over 10,000 pounds, crap, forget it. Don't touch that transmission. Under 10,000, you know, if you're on the fence line, I'd still say go with an Aisin. If you're gonna pull 5,000 to 6,000 pounds, you don't need an Aisin. Just go to Chrysler. You ain't gonna do nothing to it. Don't chip the darn thing, and you'll be fine. And if you chip it, run like a 30-horse tune with a transmission tune. I'm personally certain that you'll be perfectly fine. You know, as far as that goes. And I missed to state the fact, finish stating the fact that my buddy that bought the 2011 9,000 on it, did the services, and at 20,000 he did the services again. So about 10,000 plus minus 10,000 miles later, he did another service. Yes, he did both filters. He did the services, and the transmission ended up being crap. My cousin, why do I call him my cousin? He's married to my cousin. I personally did a service for him. You know, helped out family, made sure, you know, put in the right fluid, right filters, everything. Tranny is a pile of junk. It's on its last leg. Why? Because it just has a limit, guys. Quit being ignorant and quit saying he said, she said. Experience it for yourself, or listen to the guy that has experience with these things. There's a really good reason why I just don't touch those trucks with Chrysler transmissions. You know, Chrysler charges me $3,000 or whatever, the $2,900 for an Aisin. I say you could have $5,000, just give me that darn Aisin. I do want to hear, I don't want to see a Chrysler, solely because it doesn't fit me so well. So, spin these facts, or whatever you want to say. Just want to bring out the facts, man. That's all I want to do with this channel. Just bring out the facts to you guys, so one could say, you know, this makes sense, instead of, you know, me pulling stuff out of thin air. I have a little bit more time today, so I can be a little bit more emotional and be like, yo, quit being stupid. But anyways, so that's it. That's what I had to share with you guys. Those Chrysler stories, I mean, I didn't mention the service intervals on those 2016s. Those trucks were brand new. One of them got traded in at 12,000 miles, and the other one, I think the guy's still pulling with it, but he's definitely under 20,000 miles. Are they due for a transmission service? In my books, no. I mean, they're new trucks, you know. They're not seeing the mileage my trucks are seeing. But anywho's, once again, just want to share the knowledge with you guys. And if I could save one or two of you from getting into this crap story, more power to me, right? Or more power to you. Thanks to me and fellas like myself out there trying to help you. Now, guys, I've made a video on this, but I'll keep it real short. When you go to the dealer and you ask him for an Aisin, does not mean you're going to get an Aisin. You have no idea how worked up my neighbor was with that 2017 that had 13,000 miles on it, and he got sent into third gear limp mode. Well, guess what? The salesman told him he had an Aisin transmission. You know, flip the page. Whatever. I might as well share it with you guys. I came home one day. I'm like, yo, Mike, you got yourself a new truck? He's like, yeah, he's really excited about it. I'm like, did you do the Aisin transmission? He's like, oh yeah. You know, we go talking about it, and for some odd reason, he popped the hood. Can't remember what the reason was, and he pops the hood, and his oil dipstick on his transmission is the left-hand side. And I look at him, I'm like, Mike, you have a Chrysler? He's like, no, I have an Aisin. I'm like, Mike, I just did a video on it today. When you pop the hood, guys, and you're facing the engine, so you're looking at the vehicle. You're looking at the engine from in front of the vehicle. Does that make sense to you? On your right-hand side is the driver's side. You got your oil dipstick for your for your engine, and right behind it, vicinity of, like, you know, a foot radius, right behind it, a little diagonally, you'll see the dipstick of the transmission. That's an Aisin transmission, okay? Now, if you pop the hood, on your right-hand side is the driver's side, left-hand side is the passenger side. If your oil for your transmission dipstick is on the left-hand side, the passenger side, the dipstick pops out right there by the intake box or intake box tubing in the back, you know, a little bit further cornered towards the firewall. Left-hand side means Chrysler. Passenger side means Chrysler. Driver's side dipstick, transmission dipstick means Aisin. Some of these salesmen don't care more than just to get their paycheck. If you're looking for a Chrysler, absolutely this truck has a Chrysler. If you're looking for an Aisin, the same exact truck's going to have an Aisin in it. Well, I'm being a little dramatic here, but you get the point. So at 9:30 at night, you should have seen how angry my neighbor was. Well, guess what? My neighbor bought he spent thousands and thousands of dollars with this dealership. Sadly, it's the same dealership that I go to, not the same salesman. But he went back there, bought multiple vehicles from them. They're like, sorry, man, we sold you the truck. We can't do anything for you. Well, I believe what they did is they upped his warranty, like bumper to bumper, $120,000. And he told him, dude, I'm gonna drive the crap out of this truck. I'm like, yeah, you go ahead and do that. And if something goes south, we'll cover on warranty. Sure as heck, 13,000 miles on the truck. It's already in limp mode. I had to change out some solenoids. So yeah, guys, once again, turning in a long video. I do apologize for that, but for some reason, when I get on this topic of Aisin and Chrysler, they end up long videos. Anyways, as always, have a mighty fine day. Behave, and Merry Christmas to y'all. Don't lose the true meaning of Christmas, and celebrate, give gifts, but remember that Christ was born on this day. Not free gifts. Alright. Y'all behave, have a good one. Bye.